I've seen alcohol and what it can do. I've got a few people in my family close to me that have struggled with alcohol, and I used to drink just to drink. And then one summer, a couple summers ago,
Rashad Evans is the new UFC heavyweight champion.
It's Sugar Snake Takes.
What's up, fellas? Here we are again for another Sugar Snake Takes. Good to see you guys. How y'all doing? It's a beautiful day here in Colorado, dude. Like
It looks a
last
little
time,
brisk.
last time we did this, it was cold weather, yurt fire weather kind of stuff, and it's a beautiful day outside. But Jake, you're inside today. Last time you were outside.
I'm inside just because I can sit here and look outside to where I'm going to be when we're done.
Okay.
And so I'm looking forward to getting outside. But now I know I got good reception in here, and I don't have to worry about, anything happening outside right at the moment. But it is a beautiful day here for sure.
Good. Rashad's always got that sunny Florida
Yeah, I'm
kind of
outside
every
on the
day.
patio, just kicking back.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
good.
Nice.
Never changes. The weather never
Not
changes in
well. I
Florida.
mean, it has changed. Like it's not as warm as it was. So it's kind of cooled off a little bit, which is perfect temperature. You know, throw on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and you just money.
Less humid too.
Oh, less humid. The humidity's cut in half. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's perfect right now,
Mike, I'm digging that big circular mirror behind you or whatever. It looks like a big,
like
that's
a
pretty
sun.
sweet.
That's a portal, man.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that a
yeah.
portal? Oh, boy.
Jump through
Uh,
it. Cool. Well, before we started recording, we were talking about all these kind of cultural, whatever you might call them, as far as no shave November or dry January or
sober
various
October.
sober October. And Jake was kind of going off on that, and then Mike kind of talked about how one of them actually seemingly made an impact on you. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, last year I started the year with dry January, and I'd never had a problem with drinking, but it was probably it was enough to impact me where it was just casual drinking at parties or gatherings or just have a few, on the weekends and things like that. And, getting older, I can't really rebound like I used to. The hangovers I feel like way more sort of abruptly, and so I did dry January, and it's not that I don't drink at all anymore, but I drink significantly less than I did the year prior, and it all started with just taking on that challenge, and it just sort of it lost its appeal naturally to me. So I'm not fixated on it like, oh, I can't drink. It's just after doing that, I can be at a party now and decide, I don't really want to, I'll have a sparkling water instead. So, especially from when I was, much younger, things have changed a lot, and it's, better for my health for sure.
Yeah, Rashad, you don't drink at all, do you?
No, I don't drink. I stopped, man, a few years ago, like 5 years ago, I stopped. And it was just kind of like something that I just couldn't take it anymore. Like I literally just could not consume alcohol no more, and I don't even miss it. It's just something that I just stopped doing, and now I don't. I kind of like I remember what it feels like to be drunk, and like but the part that I remember more than anything is just what it feels like to have that hangover, right? That headache, that feeling of just feeling sick all day. I remember that, and that to me is like, yeah, I just don't want it again. I don't want that vibe anymore. So I just don't drink. I lost the taste of it, and I feel better than I ever felt. For a while, I couldn't be in a social situation. I couldn't be in a social setting without having a drink. And then it got to the point where it was like anytime I was gonna have fun, I needed to have some alcohol. But then it got to the point where I was just sitting there drinking, I'll drink by myself. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you start drinking. That's when it starts, drinking starts taking that other turn, right? When it's just not about the social settings and not about just having fun. It's when you're by yourself, and it's when you're, you know, having going through a hard time, you start leaning on a little bit. And I felt like I was going there, and I just stopped and haven't looked back.
Was there, I mean, was there something that just provoked that? Because I've got a similar story.
Yeah,
What is it that you're like, yo, it's over. I'm done with this shit.
uh, it was like after I had that after I had my toad experience, I could not drink alcohol anymore. It was weird. It was like my body just said no more, and I tried to be like, I drank something and I threw up like off of just like off of one drink, and I threw up as if like I've been drinking a whole night, and I was like, that was strange. So I was like, maybe it was just that one time. So then I was eating dinner with some friends, and everybody had some wine, so I had a glass of wine, and I take 2 sips of the wine, and I'm in the bathroom just throwing up for like the next 15 minutes to the point where I sweat so much that I sweated out my shirt that I was wearing. I was like, dude, I can't drink no more. And I haven't had the taste to drink and haven't drank ever since.
That's
Wow.
awesome, dude.
What a blessing,
Yeah,
man. That's a blessing.
it
Totally.
is. But you know, it's weird because like drinking used to be like a bonding experience I would have with some of my friends. You know, I would go to this one bar and we'll all hang out all Friday and we'll just drink and we'll have great stories to tell the next day. But then now I don't drink no more. I don't go to that bar. I don't really hang out with those friends, and it's just different. But I don't miss it though. I really don't miss it. It's just funny to that you have like, you know, certain things that you do with certain people, and then when you don't do it no more, you don't really have that much in common with those people.
Yeah. Alcohol is definitely one of those things that, like, it's a common bond, and outside of it, you probably ain't got shit, in common with these people. If you're kind of
Yeah,
focused on that. A lot of when I quit, because I drank heavily and had a serious problem. I mean, I like a problem for sure where I'd get too intoxicated and do it all the time, every week. And I know a lot of people do that, but
Oh,
when I quit, it's like a lot of the folks I was hanging out with just like, oh, I don't really have much to chat with you about anymore. So,
yeah.
Jake, I know you don't really drink that often either. I mean, maybe once in a great while, or
it, yeah, I mean, I had a glass of wine the other night because I really like wine. It tastes good. But it's funny because I actually had a moment to hang with your dad, who has been sober for I think 23 years. Dale, your dad, Patrick, and what he said about wine and like alcohol, and how he's like, I always just thought of it as like, I'm gonna drink this to get sloshed, not drink a glass of wine to enhance the meal that you're eating or to bring out flavors from something you're cooking and like imbibing in. And like, so, for me, I take the open stance to a hard line on anything is really not my choice on life in general. Like, I'm not a hardcore vegetarian or vegan, or I don't drink at all because, yeah, I don't know. I just think that you may limit yourself sometimes because, if I was traveling somewhere in the world and was with a group and they were drinking wine and it was like, say, in Italy or something, I'm probably going to drink some wine, and I probably could have a hangover the next day. But it's also how you put it into your body. Like, if I'm drinking it as like, oh, this is a beautiful organism that's been worked and put lots of effort and love into for me to enjoy, then I take it in, enjoy, and I don't have those negative effects the next day. I've seen alcohol and what it can do. I've got a few people in my family close to me that have struggled with alcohol, and I used to drink just to drink. And then one summer, a couple summers ago, my partner, she was. It was funny because I always just thought, yeah, we drink. It's what we do. We come to the lake, people come over, and we drink. She's like, you don't have to drink. I'm like, well, what would I do? Like, just don't drink. And so I started drinking the bubbly waters that were coming out, and that was a great way to still get a drink in my hand and like have a bubbly and like do all that. And then I wasn't craving alcohol as much. I dropped like 14 pounds. Inflammation kind of went away. I feel like waking up how I feel already when I wake up. I feel good to put that at risk to drink 7, 8, 9, 10 beers or whatever. It's just not worth it. But I do get a kick out of this whole new like bubbly water thing. So, the adults gather and they got their beers or they're drinking their wine, and then they all have something in their hands, and then you start watching the kids running around, and all these little mofos got their own little drink. It's a bubbly. They all have a drink. We're teaching them to have a drink in their hand by having these bubblies at every goddamn party. And most of the time, they pop the top, take a sip, set it down, and that's it. And I go around my parties after we have groups and gatherings, and I'm pouring out like tons of water just down the drain. So I don't know, man. That's a whole nother subject. I don't miss alcohol. I'm not against alcohol. I think if you need it, great. If that's your medicine, if that's what you want to do. But it is hard to relate with someone who's 7, 8, 10 deep into that spirit. It's really hard for me to be around it. My nose is so sensitive to it. So it's like the smell of it too, when you're in a group of people that have been drinking, and that smell. And it's like, I'm working through it to make sure that I can be okay with it. Because in our culture here, almost everybody's drinking just because. And some too much, some more than others. So yeah, alcohol, I'm okay without it in my body.
Yeah, I like the fact that you said the word spirit, because it is a spirit. And it does invoke a different personality. And my wife kind of said, because I don't drink like I used to, right? But I'd still drink, and she said I don't care, even if you have like 2 beers. There's something about you that I don't like. It's just different, maybe it invokes an idea of the way I used to drink, or whatever that might be, but it has a spirit. And at the end of the day, it's probably a negative, lower vibration spirit. And so for me personally, Mike, it wasn't sober October or dry January or whatever the hell that is. It was, shit's kind of a mess, and I can't afford one iota of negative energy in my simple, fragile brain. November. So I quit drinking in November. And when I say quit drinking, I've maybe had 5 drinks in between it, because I like what you say, Jake. I think when we were at Telluride Mushroom Festival, we had a really bomb dinner, and I had a beer with that, and I like having a beer every once in a while. But
Yeah.
I haven't been intoxicated from alcohol for, it'll be over a year this November, which is kind of unheard of for me, because I used to drink my ass off, and it's just you have to make space for that type of poison to be part of your life, dude. And it's like, even talking about any substance, listening to San Guru kind of talking about, I'm high all the time. I'm high on life all the time. I don't need help from anything else. I'm not there. I need a little help at, in other areas. When my alcohol went down, some of my other substances went up, So, but I also think, to like what you said, Jake, being really intentional with it. Like you're like, yeah, hey, I'm with
Be
good
mindful
friends
of
in
that.
Italy, and like I'm gonna treat this ceremonially. Jackie went out for her birthday dinner with her brother to a really nice restaurant. They had alcohol pairings, and she doesn't drink, but she's like, I'm gonna drink this tonight and have a intentional evening with my brother. And she's like, I feel good. I feel fine. I'm not 100%, but I don't feel hungover, which is important, But
Yeah.
alcohol's a dangerous drug, dude.
Yeah. Time and place, and if you're doing it with purpose and mindfulness. In Berlin this summer when I was there, that's what they do. They drink good beer in Berlin. And so I had a couple beers in the park, hanging with some of the locals. And it's like, I don't want to have a hard line on anything, because life is full of some really awesome things out there, and not all of them are super great for you if you're doing them every single day. But sometimes it is like other medicines, other drugs, whatever you want to call them. Sometimes it is fun to, like, get that moment to cut loose, to be free, to remember that life is pretty damn good.
Mike, Rashad and I were talking this morning, and Rashad was talking about Breathwork, which I'll definitely let you holler about, Rashad. But what was that book you were telling Jake and I about that you read a while ago? Mike's been on a level for a while, I think. And
Uh,
what was the book on, like, how not to trip with substance or something?
no, it was. I bought it when I was 18, and it was by James Nestor, who recently wrote a book about breath work, called Breath, I think,
Read.
and it was like
I'm reading.
100 ways
I'm
to
reading
get
that right
high.
now.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so it was like 100 ways to get high without drugs, and he had like his high lab where he had a bunch of people working with him to just test these different sort of practices and exercises and stuff like that to kind of shift and alter your consciousness. I've always been curious about like the different ways we can shift our mindset, and alcohol is one of those ways. And I think, speaking of it in terms of a spirit, you have what Rashad is alluding to is you can have these moments of really deep camaraderie where if everyone was sober, maybe they're not going to start belching out Bohemian Rhapsody together and have like this really fun time singing along. But on the other hand, you have the sort of the signature of the sort of the evil that alcohol can do, whether it's domestic violence or drunk driving accidents. Like the pain that it causes is really obvious and clear. And I'm curious about culturally how we've separated it from drugs and alcohol for whatever reason. But I don't. We don't need to get into that right now. Del, did you have something related to breath work you wanted to lob to Rashad or?
Yeah, no, Rashad, tell us about your breath work. I mean, I'll just state that the first time I ever did breath work, I was just like absolutely blown away because I'd had heavy psychedelic experiences. And I was like, how the fuck are they not teaching this in every single school across America? Just the concept of you can physically take yourself into another plane just by breathing. And like, you don't need substance. I never knew that until I was 36 years old. That's bullshit, So Rashad, tell us about what are you diving into on that breathwork side?
Yeah, well, I've been doing some research and just kind of really getting into breath work and really understanding, trying to understand how to do it and really get myself to a point where I could have an experience like that. I haven't had like one of those breakthrough experiences with my breath work yet. I'm still trying to get there, to be honest. But what made me just kind of want to go this route is that I smoke weed a lot. I smoked a lot of weed, and to the point where it was like I smoked almost every single day for like 2 to 3 years, and I reached a point where I'm just like, I don't know. I just felt like it was becoming way too much of a crutch than anything. So I stopped smoking, and I just want to just you know try to see if I can get there another way. Try to see if I can get to that place and just kind of feel myself in a different kind of space without any psychedelics and without any weed. And that's where I'm at right now. I mean, it's been like 2 months, but I feel like it's been fun. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like at first I'm just like, man, I don't know how I can do this. It was kind of hard to just break the habit of not so much smoking, but just the routine of, when I accomplish the day or I, want to sit and relax, I'll usually fire up a joint. You know what I'm saying? That would just allow me to relax at just another level. But, I've learned to, once I got over that, now I kind of like it. I kind of like where I am right now, and I'm starting to really incorporate more meditation, more prayer, and just more of me just coming from a place where it's not using anything, and I really want to try that because I was just like, man, I've had some crazy and amazing journeys and realizations with using plant medicine and everything that comes along with that, but I'm like, I feel like now I have enough understanding to know what's real and what's not, And now I have enough understanding to know that whatever I'm seeking is always coming from me anyways. So I feel like that which I'm seeking, I know I can find without having that proverbial ladder. I don't need that ladder anymore. And you know, like like Jake says, I'm not drawing a hard line in the sand saying I'll never smoke weed again or I'll never do mushrooms again. But right now I'm just exploring something different. And it's been satisfying in a different kind of way, in a way in which I really didn't expect. I feel like I kind of got my power back in a sense. Not as if like it those things taking my power away, but it allowed me to challenge myself in a way that I feel challenged. I felt as if like maybe being able to lean on the psychedelics and the weed was just me starting to find another crutch instead of just like dealing with whatever I need to deal with just head on. So I felt as if like I needed this level. I needed this leveling up.
And once you do that though, Rashad, the way you say it, like, oh, it's a crutch. As soon as you think that, now it becomes a crutch. As soon as you
Right.
think that, you're like, oh. So like the awareness you had for the wording around what you were doing is beautiful because it all comes down to awareness. I enjoy a spliff. I like spliffs once in a while. I'm not real like excited to smoke tobacco the rest of my life, and I sometimes don't like getting too high with marijuana. But a spliff is something that I use, and when I do it, I give it a lot of mindfulness. I bless it. I bless myself. I thank it, and I enjoy it. And how long that's going to go on, I don't know. Is it when it becomes a crutch though? When I'm like, ooh, I want one of those. Then I'm like, wait a sec, back up. No, you don't need it today. Not right now. Like, let's do something else. And so, just the fact that when you say those words of, ooh, just becoming, am I doing this? Am I doing this for the right reason, or am I like this is a bad habit that I'm continuing with? As soon as you say that, then it's time to assess those things and maybe make change.
Yeah, I like that, man. I mean, Rashad, you and I again talking before this about new practices, and obviously psychedelics are super important to me with Unlimited Sciences. And we just launched our first publication with Johns Hopkins. It's important data. Psychedelics are taking hold. It's important that they do. I think it's an incredible uh, way to activate an awakening. But boy, oh boy, the idea of constantly doing these things all the time, you're missing the point. Answer. What's
Yeah.
the Alan Watts deal?
Yeah, when you get the message, hang up the phone. I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so,
Yeah.
and that's something that my dad, Jake, I've been struggling mentally with a lot of things, as a lot of men do, a lot of women do, of course, as well. And it's been a very challenging time, and I felt very broken after my last psilocybin trip. And it wasn't joyful at all. It was very confusing. It kind of invoked some ideas that I don't really know how true they were, and all the things. My dad kind of came at me pretty hard in the sense of like, you've got no spiritual practice, dude. You've got, and not a spiritual practice, but like a connection to God, like sitting in a meditative state, meditating about yourself. That's this new spirituality. And another brother of mine, Matt Lindsay's like, yeah, you know what I've been doing? I've been praying from my knees. I think we talked about this last time. And dude, I will tell you, it feels like it's making a big difference. And again, Rashad, you and I kind of chatting about that practice of a deeper connection. I am grateful for psychedelics. I will continue to use some psychedelics probably for a while. Uh, However, I absolutely see a time where I will no longer use those, um, as I continue and grow my faith in a higher power that can control the things that we can't control. And so these are good gateways, if you will. And I don't like the term gateway because it's got such a bad connotation. Uh, but it is a gateway to an awakening that's hyper necessary for humanity right now. So I'm grateful, but it's always like, what about Tuesday? After these tremendous weekends that we have and all these wonderful things happen and everyone's super excited, you're going to be really lonely on Tuesday when no one gives a shit about your ayahuasca experience because no one even has heard of it, and so you can't talk to anyone. What's your daily practice? And I think that that's what that breath work, meditation, prayer, reading, real connection to a higher source is, that should always be the goal. So with that said, real quickly, Rashad, we'll have to chat, but I'll show you how to do that breath work deal to get you somewhere.
Yeah,
It's
you
very
gotta show me,
labor
man.
intensive, and it gets. I'll
What,
do it right now.
yeah,
I'll
what's
do
the
it right now.
style?
Here it is. You just lay down, okay, and just think in your mind, I need to take in more oxygen than I let go. And all you breathwork people are watching this, yeah, whatever, I get it. But I've done this by myself multiple times, and you'll get to a point after 10, 15 minutes, you'll get tetany where your hands feel like lobsters and it hurts. You got to keep going through it. But it's just like this. You lay down and you go, breathe in as much as you can and don't force it out, just let it out. Like do that for about 15 minutes. Your hand will start to do this. Your head will start to go light. You'll start getting somewhere. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And soon enough, dude, blast off. It's just absolute. And what I'll do is when I feel like coming on super hard, I'll just do a monster inhale, and then I'll hold my breath for like 3 minutes while I'm, blasting out of my mind. And then on the exhale, it's just like, whoa, it's even more intense. And then for me, it's all over. I can't get back into the breathing. It's just too intense. But the
So
point of
about
that is,
15 minutes of doing that, I should be feeling something.
yes,
Maybe
All right.
sooner too.
yeah, probably
Okay,
sooner. And
because
again, you'll
I'm
feel
doing
your
like
hands.
I'm doing what I think is right, and I'm just like, or what I see on the video, I'm like, I don't really feel anything, but I've been doing breath holds and things like that, and I feel like relaxed after I do like certain things, but I haven't like had that experience yet.
It, it should be uncomfortable. At least every time I've ever done it, before I get to these states, it's like, this sucks. This is not.
Yeah,
It's kind of like,
your
it's kind
lip
of.
goes numb. This will get your lip will get numb here. You'll be like kind of feeling your body feeling weird, tingly, and then like Dale said, you go
So are
into
you
who
breathing
knows
through your
where you
nose at all,
go.
or just all through your mouth?
Just,
Stand ground.
I breathe through my mouth. I
Okay.
There are
go.
different practices that are just nasal breathing, though. But yeah, this one is this holotropic because this like Stan Groff used to study the psychedelic state using breath work. I've done breath work at times where it's just like somehow unlocked a pocket of grief that I didn't know about, and all of a sudden I'm crying, and I'm not sure why, but the emotion's so real and so visceral. I even one time it was like a group breathwork exercise, and I purged. I had to throw up because whatever it activated. Everyone else was like, "Holy shit, man! This is like some real stuff." Thankfully, they had a bucket nearby, but it was like
See,
it
that's what
can
I
really.
want. That's what I want to get to.
Rashad wants to be thrown up. That's right.
Yeah, I want to
No,
take it
you
to the
can't. Rashad,
max.
the first time I did it, the first time I did it was very quickly after Toad, and I remember going to this, you know, it's very, very hippie to go into a holotropic breathwork. This one in particular is very hippie. And I remember this guy, he starts going in and very early he starts crying. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like I didn't get it. And then soon enough, I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. And I'm like, and it felt just like the first iotas of a second of Toad where it's just like, blam, just hitting you hard. And then I breathe in and just, it's gone, dude. So breathe in deeply through your mouth, big breaths, and then just let it go. Like, Just do that, lay down
Okay.
10, 15 minutes. You should definitely feel it. And again, you'll feel it's a over oxygenation and your hands will cramp up. I get like this, I can't move. It's powerful, dude. Super, super good stuff.
For anyone who's watching, don't do this while driving or while operating heavy machinery.
Yes. Don't do that. But
Yeah.
this is a good episode. We need to find those other however many other ways to trip out via no substance. But
Oh yeah.
Breathwork's a vibe, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
we're right around 30 minutes here, so let's shift into the community question. Going back a bit to childhood, what's a game you loved to play when you were a kid, and why?
I'll go.
Ooh.
It's hide and go seek. Hide and go seek was the ultimate best game. Even as an adult, I played hide and go seek. I'll play hide and go seek with my kids, and we'll play at the park. But I get crazy into it. I'm like hiding on top of the park equipment. I'm hiding underneath the garbage cans. Like I go nuts. They would get so mad that they'll never find me. But I was thinking about that, man, because I was in Chicago with my older kids. They're uh, soon to be 17 and soon to be 15. And my 15-year-old, she was like, "Let's play hide and go seek." And one of the other guests like, "Oh man, we're too grown for that." But I was thinking, after a while, I'm like, "Nah, we're actually not," because the truth of the matter is, hide and
Yeah.
seek is the game that we're playing now. We don't even realize that we're playing hide and go seek with this identity that we have now, and I say that because every single time that I do told, I'm like, "Oh, I found you again. Oh, I found you again." And every single time it's like I come back, I always forget. I always forget. There's a part that I always forget, no matter how much I come back remembering and knowing and having that experience. There's still a deeper part of the surprise, like, "Oh, you forgot again." And I say every single time I'm coming out of it, I'm never gonna forget. I'm never gonna forget. I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna hold on to this again. But I am hiding myself again. So hide and go seek it is for me.
Rashad, there's this book called The Book, and the subtitle is The Taboo Against Knowing Who You Are by Alan Watts. And it's all about Vedanta philosophy, which is it's like a Hindu philosophy. And the premise of the book, or how he describes it, is the people who practice Vedanta believe that reality is God playing hide and seek with himself or herself. So just as you described it, it's a very, very good book. Very sort of interesting. I haven't been able to shake that idea since I read it, so I just had to share that.
I like
Dude,
that.
that's the second time you and I talked about Hinduism this morning. Mike just dropped Hinduism in that book. One more time, you got to get that book. You got to
I
get
know.
it.
I gotta get it. I gotta get it.
That's dope. How about you, Jake?
Yeah, I love your reference to hide and seek because it's still super fun. We play with my kids. We do Ghost in the Graveyard, which is you go hide, but you have a home base. And so once you're spotted, if you've been spotted, you have to race back and touch the base before you're tagged. And if you get tagged, then now you're the seeker and everyone else hides. That's a new take on hide and seek. But my childhood growing up, and we people ask me why I was so shifty, and I had a lot of things thrown at me. My brothers were always throwing balls at me and throwing stuff at me, and so I loved a good game of dodgeball. Like however you could set it up, whatever way you wanted to do it. Sometimes it was just against the wall, and you had your buddies throwing balls, and you had to be the one guy dodging. But we had a game. We had a trampoline buried in our yard, so it was just a couple feet off the ground, and the grass burned down on the side. And we played trampoline dodgeball. And if I could have four of my buddies over, or if my brothers were there, whoever, cousins, if you had four people going, you could have, so you got your trampoline and then there's two people on both sides. Each one of them has each group of two has a ball, so they're throwing balls from all angles, and you're on the trampoline jumping up, having to turn and dodge in midair, and it taught me such amazing body control and the ability to be, you could catch it too. So if you caught it, you weren't out, and you could throw it back to them. So yeah, dodgeball was always one of my favorites. And then last night I'm playing handball, and it was just hilarious because like nowadays, if I do anything nowadays, it's all for the joy. That like there's really no sense of winning or losing anymore for me with what I do. It's more, can we have the longest rally that lasts forever? Whether that be your heaven or your hell, it just would be super fun to be stuck in a rally that never ended. And there's great gets and the ball gets back. But part of playing handball and playing doubles is the ball's moving. You got to dodge sometimes. So last night the ball came at me. I jumped up. It went between my legs. Then I had to turn around, run back, and take it off the back wall. And I'm laughing. And like in the middle of it, I get done. And the guys were with us like, man, this is super fun. It's like playing dodgeball when you're a kid, yet we're playing handball too. So reminded me that I do love dodgeball. One of my favorites.
I had to play kitty cats last night with Mavis.
Oh,
Mavis
Miss
is
Mavis.
Miss Mavis is always wanting to play, and I so often, it's too many times, say no, I'm busy. Like I because for me it always turns into wrestling though. 100% of the time, I'll become the aggressive cat who wants to fight then or whatever. Like, so it's always wrestling. But Miss Mavis is so little and still in that magic that I'm like, dude, stop what you're doing and pay attention to this, because everything you're doing, where, oh, I need to make money for my job so I could what? So you can what? Like provide for your kid, your child's right here wanting to play with you. Go play. So we played kitty cats last night. Not my favorite game, but you know what? It's hers, so it is my favorite
Yeah,
game.
it reminds me of playing at Mavis's little dollhouse.
Yep, yep.
Every time I come
Yeah.
over, she has me
I
playing some
love
kind of game.
little kids, dude. Like, oh, they're so good. They're so good. I'm trying to recognize God and everything, or see how many times I could see God. And Mavis came home from school the other day, 2 days ago, and she's like, I met this new friend. She's amazing. She's my best friend. She's from the other class and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I don't even know her name. It's like, yes, we need to
Yeah.
be best friends with people in that capacity. Like, oh, that's my best friend. I love them. They're so fun. They're so cool. I just met them. They're amazing. I don't fucking know their name. Yes, that's what we need. So
Magic. Little
magic.
magic.
Yep. Little magic. The only autocorrect that I love more than anything. Mavis gets turned into magic. So, all right, fellas. Good work. Good subject. Good positivity. All this stuff that we're talking about is just raising the vibration. And at the end of the day, that's the point. Since there is no purpose except for to love, that's feels like that's what we did here. So,
Well
love
said.
each of you guys. Thank you so much for another episode.
Peace.
Peace,
Peace.
love, and mushrooms.
Yeah, that sure is dope.